All right, welcome back to some more GenCon 2015 coverage with Gamers Remorse. We are here with Ignacy from Portal Games. And Portals came out with Imperial Settlers, which kind of took the con by storm when that was released, and they are here this year with an expansion for that, as well as a few other games, Tides of Time and Rattle Battle. So, experience this con so far. What do you think has been the biggest game for you guys?
Yeah, so the biggest was Tides of Time, which was sold out after the second day. It was like we were not able to unpack them from the boxes because it was like crazy and everybody was raving about the game and playing it. And Rattle Battle is doing amazingly well too. We have like 1 or 2 stacks left, and Atlantean's expansion, everybody said, I know Impressors, I want Atlantean. So for us it was a blast. Like it's a 4th day? Yes, 4th day. It's a 4th day. We are super busy, super tired, but it was worth it. Yes, it was amazing convention.
Yep. And I know a lot of people really hoping to get their hands on Tides of Time. Do you know, is there a second print run anytime soon, or when they'll be able to find that in stores or online?
Yeah, so we had here pre-release here at GenCon, but the actual release for a distribution level and for the retailers is in a couple of weeks. So it will be very soon in the online stores and your favorite local game stores.
Mm-hmm. All right, so for those of us who weren't able to get here first thing Thursday, and weren't able to get our hands on it, we don't have to wait too long to get Tides of Time on our tables. I mean, it's a game that everyone I've heard talk about it has been loving it, and it sounded like a lot of people who've demoed it then went and bought it. And I understand you guys did something fascinating with the demos, where if people had a demo ticket, they could use that as a coupon for the game.
Yeah.
How has that worked out for you guys?
It worked very well. We have like a huge bunch of these coupons. People played the game, liked the game. They were happy that they have a discount for the game. So it is a very good solution. I strongly recommend to other publishers because it shows you how many people enjoyed the demo, how many of them actually wants to buy the game, and it's like is a great gift for them, like a gesture, and is a great inside information about the product reception, actually. Yeah, so it's like a win-win situation. The customer is happy and the company is happy, so it's a very good idea.
Yeah, and it's a great sign of essentially gamer attention. They learn it, and I think this is true of most Portal games. Once you know how to play it, you want to keep playing it. And then some of the other games you guys have, you mentioned Rattle Battle. What can you tell us about Rattle Battle? How's the reception so far? Definitely a fun, amazing-looking game.
Yeah, we released it like 2 days ago at GenCon, yes, and I have on my Twitter feed, like people are ping, posting pictures of these ships. I built this ship, we just played Rattle Battle, look at my ship, so it's begun and it will be huge. I'm super excited. The game has amazing components, and during the game you build your actually cardboard big ship. So people are crazy posting pictures of these ships. Look at what I built. I have 5 cannons. Look, I have 3 sails. Yes, all this crazy stuff. So we are very excited, and it works as I expected. People are sharing their excitement about the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a modular shipbuilding tile, not necessarily tile placement, but using tiles to construct these ships, and it's really fun seeing this ship expand on the table. And then you also have the Atlantean expansion to Imperial Settlers. What can you tell us maybe about some of the design process behind that? When you were designing Imperial Settlers, did you know you wanted more expansions, or how did you choose upon the Atlanteans?
Yeah, so from the very beginning, we knew that we will release at least 3 new factions, and then there was only the decision which one is first, which one is second, which one is third. We went with the Atlanteans because it has a so cool concept that at the end of the game, all cards are discarded, all their buildings are sink, and they have no scoring points at the end of the game. They have no single points from the location because they got sink, yes? So it is like a very interesting quest for the designing point, how to make them get victory points in a different way, yes? So we had to make the speed of the game a little bit different. They have to score earlier in the game to catch up with other players, yes. They have to score much more during the game because there's no end game scoring for them. It was a great adventure, but it was also a very difficult task to balance it with other factions, yeah. So we spent like months and months playing with every single faction, with 2 players, 3 players, 4 players, checking if they can catch up with other factions, knowing the fact that for them there's no end scoring.
And yesterday you were explaining to us that someone had gotten 106 points or something at one point. And so with the new expansion, you have to learn, how do I combat these people? And so you mentioned, though, that there are at least 2 other expansions that you plan on coming out with. Can you give us any hints on what these other races might be?
No way, sir. No way. I'm so sorry. No way.
So you heard it here first. The next expansion will be board game reviewers. I'm looking forward to that. But what other games do you guys have that either maybe didn't make it to GenCon or that you're hoping to bring out to Essen perhaps? What do you have coming in the future?
Yeah. So for Essen 2015 we have 3 new products. We will have expansion for Theseus. This is our sci-fi game released last year, 2 years ago actually. It is a new faction for the game. For the Legacy game, this is our game from the 2 years ago. We will have a new expansion. It's called 5 Families. It introduces new families into the game. Very interesting, with a huge interaction between players. They can exchange cards and do marriages between them. Very interesting stuff. And we have a huge release, Stronghold 2nd Edition. This is my old game from 2009. I redesigned it. I make it now better, faster, smoother, with a new board, with a new cover, with the new components, with the actual custom wooden pieces like the small walls, bowmen, all that kind of stuff. Amazing stuff, and we have it for Essen release.
Okay. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up. And something we have a lot of viewers of ours are indie designers themselves, and they're wondering how can they get their designs in front of publishers, whereas you are mostly designing and publishing. But what is your experience as far as getting games in front of publishers? Do you guys actively look for games from other publishers, or do you do most of that in-house? How does Portal handle that?
Yeah. So if I can make a plug here for a second, I have a podcast called Board Games Insider, and in each episode we give insider information. So for example, for this question, we have a whole episode dedicated for that. So you can guys look for that, boardgamesinsider.com. And in a short words, of course, you have to submit. You have to prepare a sell sheet with a photo of the components, photo of the prototype, with a short description what the game is about, why the game is unique and should be on the market, what's interesting in the game, and then a list of the components you think the game will have, the final product, yes? The publisher reads this sell sheet and see if it matches his catalog, if it matches his line of games, and if it matches, he contacts you back and says, okay, show us your prototype because it looks like something that may be interesting for us, yes? And then if the prototype is interesting and there's another contact. It's a long way, let's face it, yes? Yeah. You have to try hard, you have to contact many publishers, and finally you will be probably lucky, yes, if the game is interesting. But as I said, we have a whole episode dedicated for that, so you can Google it out, Board Games Insider, and you'll hear a lot more about the process.
Yep. And we'll throw a link in the comments below where you guys can go and look at the podcast. I highly recommend it. A lot of great information, and it's not just from reviewers, it's from actual industry insiders, people like Ignacy who they've gone through this process. So what would you say for yourself, going from being a designer to creating and running Portal? How did you come up with that decision to become a publisher alongside just a designer?
Yeah, so it all started like more than 10 years ago when I was very deep into role-playing games. I was writing articles, scenarios, source books, all that kind of stuff. I was writing for the other publisher, but at some point I was writing so much that they were not able to publish everything. So okay, I will publish by myself. And I opened a magazine dedicated to role-playing games. I was publishing my articles and my friends, and it started to grow, and now I'm publisher and designer. And it was like it all started in 1999, so it's like 16 years ago, so it is a long history. But yes, it all started that I was very creative, and I was too creative for my publisher. So I said, okay, I'll do it by myself.
Yep. And clearly it's worked very well. Yeah. You guys, hugely popular booth. It's some amazingly popular games. But then kind of looking at some of the other stuff maybe that people are hoping to see, do you have any reprints of any of the older games planned? Or do you think you're going to keep supporting any games with, you mentioned Essen, you'll have an expansion for a lot of those. And how long do you want to continually support older games? Is that just as long as there's a market for it, or do you think that far in advance?
Yeah, of course markets decide, yes. If there is a demand, I will reprint the game. It's as simple as that, yes. We have games from 2013, Legacy and Theseus. We are still supporting them. Imperial Settlers from last year, of course, is supported all the time. We just, during this GenCon, announced that the Robinson Crusoe will have a new edition from Portal Games next year. So yes, we are taking care of our titles. We believe in them. We believe they are aging well, and they are still very interesting. So there's no game left behind us.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's really exciting is we see Portal, and you guys produce games that are sold in the American markets as well as the European markets. How do you guys decide at any time if you're going to either send the rights to another company, like we've recently seen a few other games go through other companies, versus publish it in multiple regions yourself? What kind of goes on to make those decisions?
Yeah. So since 2013, since Legacy and Table these 2 our games, we no longer sell licenses for our games to America. We do it by ourselves. We have established and developed the distribution for ourselves, so we can carry the titles by ourselves. For Europe, it depends on the country. For big countries like France, like Spain, like Germany, we look for the local partners because they know the country, they know the market, and they can sell a lot of games. For small countries like Netherlands or something like that, we do it by ourselves, just selling English copies, sometimes with added rulebook in this country. Yeah? So it depends. It depends on the situation, depends on the country, but basically we are getting strong enough to do a lot of stuff by ourselves.
Yep. That's fantastic. We don't take too much of your time. There's a lot of people here at the booth that likely want to say hi to you. So we'll end it up here. Hopefully we'll see you again. And we're looking forward to more great stuff out of Portal Games. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.